right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thanks again for tuning in with us this week. My name is Laura McNeil. I'm a Sterling Master Examiner, and I want to welcome everybody to our fourth session of the Sterling Core Values Leadership Series. Each of the 11 sessions in this series is designed to highlight a Sterling core value in a 7-minute leadership brief, and we do follow it with a Q&A session. Core values are the practices we use or we should be using every day in everything we do. They set forth a common organizational mindset and they establish our organization's culture. Today's core value is delivering value and results, featuring Sterling Master Examiner Bob Garrig. He's the budget director for Pasco County, Florida. But before I turn it over to Bob for his 7-minute leadership brief, I just want to remind everybody that we will be soliciting questions through chat. We'll source them through there. So after Bob's discussion, please stay around for some Q&A. At this time, we'd like to introduce Bob Garrig.
Thanks, Laura. Just had to find my unmute. Thank you, Laura. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see so many new faces out there. This is the fourth in our series of discussions on the core values. And as Laura mentioned, the core values are those things which form the basis for the Sterling criteria. And today we'll be talking about delivering value and results. And why is this core value important? Because by delivering value and balancing the needs of all of our key stakeholders, your organization can build loyalty both within your organization, through your employees, and with your customers. So to start off, who determines value? Believe it or not, this is not a trick question. As Debbie Voss talked about 2 weeks ago in her customer-focused excellence presentation, it's the customer who ultimately determines the value of your products and services. And each customer has a different determination or a different value of the product and services that your organization provides to them. Your organization has the potential to be a high-performing value delivery system. And here are a few tidbits that we hope that you can use to build into your leadership process to create a value delivery system from your own organization. So first of all, it may seem obvious, but focus on the customer and the value that that customer is trying to achieve. Customer-focused excellence is all about incorporating customer needs, expectations, and requirements into the design of your product and service. After all, as we said, customers are the final judge in terms of the quality and performance of your product. Because of that, it's important to focus relentlessly on understanding your customers' true needs and expectations. Think about how do you know what it is that your customers want? Lots of organizations do an annual survey, and conducting an annual survey is fine, but your competitors are actually moving faster than that. Collecting data once or even twice a year just won't cut it. Collecting information at each interaction with your customer is ideal. Whether you use surveys or focus groups or web crawlers, you've got to know with a high degree of certainty how your customers view you relative to your competitors. As you can see on the slide here, check out all of the learning and listening posts that the city of Coral Springs uses to listen to and learn from its customers. This, in reality, if you've ever seen the Coral Springs presentation, this is only one of 2 slides that lists their listening and learning posts. They have over 30 of them. And so remember, as we said up front, each customer is different, and so that we've had to have multiple ways of getting information from them so we can meet them where they are. The second thing we want to do is focus on outcomes, not activities. Managing a task is a great place to start, but it's not a great place to finish. Focusing on outcomes will help you make clear the results that you as a leader want and the form that those results should take. As the old saying goes, it's not what you do, it's how you do it that's important. You should shift your focus from what you do to why you do those activities. One way to do this is to use language that will turn attention from the task, for example, bricklayers, into the outcome that you want them to focus on. For example, they become from bricklayers to cathedral builders. This will help your team understand the real impact of their work on the customer's mission, which in turn, hopefully, will work hand in hand to improve your team's productivity and engagement. The next thing we want to do is to continue to promote continuous improvement. The potential of your people and your processes are limitless, and so you should be improving both all the time. Role model organizations tend to create this restless culture in which they emphasize improvement and innovation all the time, continually questioning the status quo. Then they provide their employees the training, rewards, and the sharing of best practices to ensure that that continuous improvement happens. Leaders should emphasize that standing pat means getting passed by your competitors. Improving organizational efficiency and effectiveness increases customer value. Next, we want to talk about measurement. It's not possible to do any of the things on this list without a strong performance measurement system. Your organization should choose and analyze results to help you deliver and balance value for all of your important stakeholders, including employees. Therefore, results must move beyond a focus on financial outcomes to focus on process results. In other words, leaders must know the performance of their processes in terms of quality, timeliness, and accuracy. We want to focus on customer and workforce focused results, including satisfaction and engagement. And you want to focus on leadership and governance results. Next, it's important to stay quick on your feet. Beyond the ability to bounce back to a prior state when some disruption occurs, building in resilience means having a plan in place that allows your organization to bounce forward to a different or even better place than it was before. To achieve resilience, leaders must cultivate the agility to respond quickly to both opportunities and threats. Next, we're going to talk about investing in people. As a Sterling examiner, I've heard over and over again, our people are our greatest assets. And yet organizations do not always act in that way. In reality, there's an indisputable link between the way you treat your employees and the way your employees treat your customers. As Stephen Covey says, always treat your employees exactly like you want them to treat your very best customers. Leaders need to embrace this link between employee and customer by making your workforce a priority. Invest in your employees. The benefits are immeasurable and they're proven, including the ability to attract and retain top flight talent. And finally, something we can't do enough, communicate. Communicate progress. Let everyone know the results you are getting. If you're successful, celebrate and reward. If you're not successful, reach out and ask for help. Your stakeholders can't help if they don't know where you are on the playing field. Either way, you can never communicate too much. I hope some of these suggestions are something that you can use to turn your organization into a high-performing value delivery system. And thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, that was great, Bob. Thank you so much for your time today and your words of wisdom. I do have a couple of questions here, and then we'll take some more from chat. What makes a measurement process robust?
Great question. Measurement process, a robust measurement process should be SMART, and that's an acronym meaning your measures should be specific, measurable, they should be actionable, relevant, and timely. I think also a measurement system has to have built into it this ability to allow for comparisons to other organizations. You want to know, are you good or are you the best? And these organizations should also have created some sort of baseline, so you know where you start so that you can measure this progress and you can celebrate that process or that progress as you're moving forward.
Good answer. Thank you for that. What is the difference between an output and an outcome?
Yeah, that's something that's commonly not understood. Outcomes and outputs are different. In general, outputs are the actions that contribute to you receiving and achieving your outcome. And an outcome are those things the business is trying to achieve. In other words, an outcome is anybody better off as a result of us having done what we've just done? And so, for example, if you're teaching a swimming lessons, the output of that would be, I've taught 12 kids to swim. The outcome would be, at the end of the day, can those kids actually swim? Or if you're in a restaurant, if you're in the restaurant business, the output would be, we've sold billions and billions of hamburgers. The outcome from that would be, are your customers satisfied with those hamburgers? Do they taste good?
Right. Good distinction there. I like that analogy. So we have one question in chat. Are there other metrics outside of sales and satisfaction that can be used to measure the value a customer has on an organization's products or services? Let me know
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
need
There's a whole host. And what we want to do is focus on those outcomes. And that gives you some idea of the value of those measures. And so loyalty, those kinds of loyalty measures, how likely is it that you would want to recommend this organization or this organization's products to another, is often a good measure for measuring that value that or satisfaction engagement that a customer has.
Okay. Yeah, loyalty, we see that with credit cards too, right? That kind of revolutionized the approach to credit cards, rewards-based offerings and those sorts of things. One more question. Can you provide an example of a restless culture?
Oh, sure. Restless culture. Again, just to reiterate, a restless culture is one in which it doesn't accept the status quo. Organizations that have a restless culture provide ongoing training. They have leaders who are committed to this idea of continuous improvement. They have policies and incentives that are aligned with their goals and objectives, what they're trying to achieve. And then finally, they recognize people's efforts. And a great example of this would be Toyota, the organization, right, that produces all these vehicles. There's even Toyota has come up with many, many of these process improvement tools that we take for granted as they've been developed by Toyota.
What about a best recommendation for staying agile and resilient? Can you offer something in that area?
Yeah, so staying agile and resilient is the ability to respond to change when it happens. And it's not only just negative change, but also there's opportunities out there that you need to be able to respond to. And so the best recommendation is to plan into your planning processes, your strategic plan and your tactical planning processes. What would it look like if there was a disruption in your supply chain, for example? What would it look like if you had a breakthrough innovation? And so the best way to prepare for that is through your planning process.
Great, thanks. What about measuring the value of communication? How would you go about doing that?
And so communication, as leaders, if we communicate, there should be some communication strategy. What is it that we're trying to communicate? To whom are we trying to communicate? And in general, every item that we're trying to communicate should have some sort of intended effect. And so it's really measuring that intended effect, which allows us to know whether or not we've actually achieved this communication or not.
All right, last question. I don't see anything else in the queue, so I'm going to go forward with this one. How do you ensure you are balancing value for all stakeholders?
Balancing for all stakeholders is important because you have more than just your customers and your employees. And what we want to do is link this to our measurement system, and we want to make sure that we're not just focusing on our financials. So just because we're making money doesn't mean that we've balanced the needs of all stakeholders. So we want to make sure we have a well-rounded measurement process. So we want to focus on not only financials, but we want to focus on our processes, we want to focus on our outcome measures. So we want to make sure we're measuring all those kinds of things that are important to our customers.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Bob.
Thank you.
If I could quickly summarize, because I did take some notes while you were talking, it would go something like this. Practice relentless listening and focus on the customer. Focus on outcomes and not activities. It's not a to-do list. Implement a robust measurement process to identify when you are performing well or you are not performing well. Promote continuous improvement. This goes to your creating a restless culture. And then lastly, stay agile and resilient. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. As a reminder, please check in at floridasterling.com for additional content from today's session. There was a request for a transcription of my series session summary notes, so we're going to place that out there as well. And as a reminder, if you've enjoyed today's session, please feel free to forward that registration link to others. And don't forget, tune in at the same time for next week's 7-minute Sterling Core Values Leadership Series brief. It will be on focusing on success and innovation. And we will be featuring Sterling Master Examiner Bob Medeiros. He is the CEO of Nature's Coast Quality Associates, LLC. And thank you again for choosing to spend some time with us today. And I hope you all make it a great day. Thank you.